Hi guys, alright, so welcome to my channel. I haven't posted in a long time. I never really post anymore, but this video, I just really been wanting to talk about it lately and just open up about it, especially because a lot of people ask me what happened and how the whole process was, the recovery, everything. And for anyone that's going through this currently or finds my video that relates to it or just wants to know about it, just keep watching. And as the title, you guys could tell that this video is going to be about my amputated finger. Okay, so let's jump back to July 20th. So it was at my cousin's birthday party. We were just all having a good time, having fun. I decided to get on a mechanical bull just because I've always wanted to go on one, and I was just so excited, so hyped, everything. My cousins, everyone was all going on it, having fun. So I was like, okay, let me go see what it's about, whatever, have fun. But little did I know it was going to be a life-changing experience. So what happened was I got on the bull, and the straps it had was just like these two little ropes on it. I think they were little handles, but they were like the rubber ones. And yeah, I was hanging on to those, and it didn't really, in the video, it didn't seem like it was going fast, but me being on it, it seemed like it was going super fast. So I think I just kind of freaked out because like I didn't want to fall or anything, so I was just hanging on super tight. I don't know if you're supposed to hang on tight or let go when you fly off, but in the moment the first thought I had was hang on, because I do not want to fly off all crazy off of this. I'd rather just say like let me off, but that didn't happen. So I was just on it, whatever, and then next thing you know, I fly off. And when I flew off, my finger flew off. And how that happened is, I don't even know. I guess it just got stuck on the rope or whatever. So when I flew off, I hit the floor, the jumper, whatever, and I just felt all this pain rush to my finger, and the pain that I felt was just burning pain. Like honestly, I just felt like my nail broke off, because I did have fake nails on, and I just thought my nail ripped off, or I thought maybe my real nail ripped off with the fake nail, something like that. I didn't expect like the worst. So when it ripped off, I was like, right when I fell off the bull, I was just like chilling, like laughing, because my cousins were all laughing because it was just funny that I fell off. And then I just felt all the pain, and right away I look at my hand, I grabbed it, I'm laying on the floor, I look at it, oh my god, it was like, I just remember I started crying, because you don't really ever expect those type of things to happen to you, freak accidents, whatever, but it ended up just happening. And I looked at him, just like blood was gushing out of my finger. I just seen my skin all ripped up, no, like nothing, like the bone was popping out. I was freaking out. So I jumped out of the little jumper it had for the bull. I jumped out, I was crying so much, and I believe I ran to my boyfriend first, or my cousin, but I ran to one of them. I was just telling them like, my finger flew off. I was crying, screaming, I was hysterical, like bad. I don't think I've ever been like in so much pain. And I was just crying, bawling my eyes out. They were just like, let me see, because right away I just like started putting pressure on my finger, and I did not want to see it. I did not want to look again, because I knew I was gonna freak out. So I was just holding it. They're like, let me see, whatever, and I didn't want to let no one see. So like, I don't know why, but I dropped on the floor and I just started crying. I was like, I just remember telling my cousin Josie, like, call my dad, call the ambulance, like get someone here, because I'm freaking out. And I just remember I was on the floor, and I was just holding my finger, crying, because like that was just so emotional. The first thoughts in my head was like, I don't know, I just thought the most negative thoughts. I was like, I'm gonna be ugly without a finger, like no one's gonna want to put a ring, even though it's not my ring finger, it's like, it's still like a finger, whatever you put rings on, or a promise ring I think goes on this finger. But I just started thinking about that. People are gonna notice, I'm not gonna be able to wear fake nails anymore, all this stuff. I just started thinking about everything. And then I also started thinking about the procedure I was gonna have to go through, as in, because right now I work in an urgent care, so I do see like when people come in for sutures and stuff, and I don't know how, like, I've had stitches before on my lip, but on my finger I was just so scared of those needles going in, because usually they just dig it in wherever you're injured at and then they numb it up to suture it. And I just started freaking out because I was like, oh my god, like I do not want that done because it's gonna hurt. My cousin was on the phone. She was on the phone with my dad and my mom, and then she was on the phone with the ambulance, 911. And then I remember my cousin's husband was he found my finger and he put it in a bag of ice, so then like they could try to suture it back on and whatever. And then I remember my cousin Raymond was hanging on to my finger, putting pressure on it, making sure like it was okay and not shooting out a whole bunch of blood and all this. And then I remember my boyfriend was just hanging on to me, trying to comfort me, keeping me calm, telling me like they're coming, like it's okay, it's gonna be okay. But because I was having such a bad panic attack, I just remember I was looking around. They were all circled around me. I was just looking around like freaking out, crying, thinking all these thoughts. And then I don't know what happened. I believe they said I passed out. So after that, I don't really remember anything, because I guess I did pass out. And my cousin said that they were trying to wake me up. They were putting water on me. They were calling my name, trying to like, you know, wake me up. And they were all freaking out too, because like, what the heck, like I just passed out. I ended up waking up, and then I remember the ambulance was there. So the ambulance got there and my mom and dad got there at the same time, and the ambulance they were next to me, and they were just like, they were giving me pain medications, and then they were just asking like all my information and if I was allergic and everything. And then they wrapped up my finger so then like it wouldn't be bleeding. And then they carried me out to the front, went on a roller, went in the car, the ambulance truck, took off, went straight to Kaiser. So we got to Kaiser, and I was in the emergency room. The doctor came in. They told me like, look, we're not gonna be able to put your finger back on. Like, that's that. You're gonna have to just keep your finger you have, and we can't put it back on. Too long of having the finger out or something. I don't know what the heck they said, because I honestly was not paying attention. I was just freaking out. But they told me like they just basically weren't gonna put it back on or whatever. So I don't know, like my dad was in the room with me at that moment, and I was just crying so much, because then I just started freaking out more, because I'm like, all those thoughts I have in my head, like in the moment I was like, they're true, like it's gonna happen, like I can't even put my finger back on, like everyone's gonna notice, it's gonna be ugly. Like I just started thinking all these ugly thoughts again. And then so my dad was like, I want the best for her, like if there's someone else that could try to put it on, like I'm gonna go take her. So they're like, okay, like we can't keep you here, like if you guys want to like go to another hospital, that's fine. So me, my dad, my mom, and my boyfriend, we ended up going to Loma Linda, and we ended up going there. Loma Linda, they rushed me into the trauma center, and I went into a room, and then I just remember they started giving me a whole bunch of medications, pain medications, everything. I was in the room, and I kind of forgot what happened after this too, but by my mom and my dad saying is I was laying down, whatever, they were doing my x-rays and giving me my medications and all this and that, and I just, like, the worker, the nurse, she was right next to me, and she was just like, Alicia, wake up, and then she's not breathing correctly, whatever, we're gonna have to put oxygen on her. So then they put like me on oxygen, the IV, all this stuff, and they're just like, we gotta keep her up, like make sure she don't fall asleep, keep her up, because I just kept passing out. Like I've never experienced that before, and I hope I never do again, but I hated passing out that night. Like I couldn't remember. So then after all that happened, they got my x-rays and everything. They put me in another room, and I just had to wait for the hand specialist to come see me. They ended up telling me the same thing, that they weren't going to be able to reattach the finger that came off, that they weren't going to put it back on. So I I kind of just had to, whatever, suck it up, get it over with, you know. So they took me into the trauma room. He came in with his assistant, and it was me and my boyfriend just in the room, and my mom and dad were waiting outside the room. And I believe it was a 3-4 hour surgery, and we went in. By the time my accident happened, it was like 12, almost 1 in the morning. And then when I got to Kaiser, it was like 2, or like it ended up being 2 by the time we left. And then we got Loma Linda like 3ish, maybe 2:30. And then we got out, I believe, at like 7 a.m. So it was a really long night, but the whole surgery was about like 3 hours maybe. So they did my surgery. They gave me more pain medications. I was just freaking out. I did not want that needle in my finger to numb it, but they ended up doing it different. They ended up, not different, but I just never seen it like this. They ended up putting the needle right here, because I guess this is where all your nerves are in your finger. And then at the top is when they started digging the needle in, but I didn't see it. My boyfriend told me that they ended up doing that after. And then I guess just from all the medications I was on, I ended up knocking out, or I just kept falling asleep, waking up. So I don't really remember the whole surgery, thank God, because I did not want to feel any of it. So when I woke up, my whole finger was all like attached, stitched up. I remember my boyfriend and my parents came back in the room, or my boyfriend was already there, but my parents came back in the room, and they were just comforting me, asking me if I felt okay. And then he gave me some like nausea pills and medications to take home. So when we left, we went in the car and we were driving back, and then I just remember I started throwing up, and I was just crying so much because of the pain, and all those pain medications they put me on, they just started wearing off, and it was just hurting bad. Like, after everything was done, it was morning, we went home. I just knocked out, kept taking medications all day. Basically the first 2 days I was just sleeping like all day because of those medications, how strong they are. I believe I was on antibiotics, Norcos, and ibuprofen. So I was on all those, and they just kept making me tired, so I just kept sleeping all day. So what was really cool is, I believe 2 days or a day after my surgery, I went back to Kaiser because that's where I mainly go, and I had to make an appointment with an orthopedic. And when we went to the Kaiser, it was just me and my dad. We went in the room, the doctor came in, and he was just talking to me and whatever, and then like he put his hand up like this, and he was just like, he said something, I forgot what he said, but he said something, and it kind of made me like feel, it just made me feel kind of like I could relate to him, because he had an amputated finger. It was his middle finger, and his was way shorter than mine. It was like this. So I just felt better because I had a doctor that was gonna understand what I was gonna go through and wasn't gonna be so rough with my finger. Because before I went in there, I was kind of scared. I was like, what if I get someone that like doesn't understand my finger? And those were other thoughts I was having, like, no one's gonna understand the pain I'm feeling, no one's gonna understand how I feel about how it looks, like just everything. I just started thinking no one's gonna understand. I just needed someone to kind of relate to, and I thought that was like a gift from God, because that made me feel honestly really better, knowing that he was going to be my doctor for the next few months of my recovery. A few weeks, I think it's been a total of 6 weeks since the incident. Basically he just told me that I need to start bending it more, because I guess I'm kind of behind in the process of trying to bend it. So he wants me to start bending it more, and then he also wants me to start bending the first joint more, because I, to be honest, really haven't been bending it just because it hurts so much. But he told me everyone deals with pain differently, and that as long as I'm just doing little exercises with it, that it's going to be a big help later on. And he also signed me up for some physical therapy because he wants me to start moving it more. And then also he wants me to keep it uncovered, just so I could get strong mentally, and so I could get used to like just, I don't know, like using it, I guess, picking up my phone, drinking water, don't really baby it anymore. And he wants me to also wash it with regular soap and water. He said that doing little exercises and warm water will really help also. And I kind I feel kind of self-cautious still, just because like I don't want no one really seeing my finger right now, because it is still basically healing. You can see it's still basically healing, and I don't know, like that's just me personally. Like I still feel kind of self-cautious about it. So they told me that I could put like a little band-aid like this just to cover it, but that they mostly do want me to just start leaving it out and using it regularly. So the appointment overall went pretty good this time. I mean, they always go good, but this time I was like more mentally stronger about it. So I feel like it's getting better. I believe I had about 12 to 16 stitches, not really sure, but there's some photos and footage and everything for you guys to see. Here's to the other side. Lifted. I really want to thank, I just really want to thank my parents for being there for me, comforting me, making sure like I'm okay. When I was recovering, just laying around, I felt kind of just useless because I couldn't really like help my family, or I was just kind of depressed in my own state of mind of like I didn't want to get up or do anything, go out, nothing. And I thank them for like still understanding and comforting me and making me feel better, and just like doing all these things, all these extra things that they didn't have to do to make me feel like comfortable. I'm like trying not to cry because I still get emotional, but I also want to thank my boyfriend because he did help me too. He made me feel better, and he was comforting me and telling me like, no, you're not ugly, all these things that I just kept saying. I thank him for that too, because I needed someone like family. Yeah, family's always here, family's always gonna make me like love them, feel comfortable, but knowing that like I have my best friend and my boyfriend make me feel the same way, like it's just best of both worlds. But thank you to them. Also thank you to my cousins that were there through the incident, and they comforted me. Just really thank you to all you guys. Thank you to everyone. I'm sorry, it's just like without my family and my boyfriend and everyone, my cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone, I really wouldn't have like got through this. I think that I probably would have still been depressed by myself, just thinking all these thoughts. And my family and you guys, my boyfriend, everyone, like you guys really helped me. You helped me recover really fast, just emotionally and everything. I love you guys so much. And sorry, I'm trying not to cry, but I really love you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and just thank you so much. Yeah, but it's almost about to be 3 months on the 20th. It's October now, so it is gonna be 3 months. And my doctor said that it does take about 6 months to fully heal, to see how your finger's going to look, and then it takes about a year to get used to all your nerves and the weather changes for your finger, everything like that. So it's basically healed. I'm just going through the process of trying to shape it now and just desensitizing it. But these clips should help of what I went through the few months. Just went to see my doctor a few times. Stitches started coming off like 1 to 2 weeks. They kind of started, only actually I think 2 came off in the first 2 weeks. I think the rest took like a month and a half to finally come off, and they're the ones that dissolve on themselves, just come off. And then I started going to therapy. I just started that about 3-4 weeks ago, so I've been doing that every week. I still have, I believe, 2 more appointments the next 2 weeks. So that should be helping me. I will have some pictures of the tools I've been using and exactly what she's been making me do. When I did go to the therapy, she did do some measurements my first time, as in like seeing how far I could close my fist and extend my finger out and how long my finger is. And then she made me do these weights where I had to like pick up things to see my feet, like my strength. I had to like pull these things to see how much I could grab. All these little tests she had me do, because she asked me what hand was my dominant hand. It was my right hand, obviously. So just things were a little bit different of trying to use my left at the moment. So my left hand was a little bit stronger than my right. So when we did do those tests, my left hand was about a 60% and my right hand was about a 20%, which is supposed to be at 90 to 100. So it's supposed to be between there, and I was far from that. But we did go to my appointment this week, so it has been like the third appointment, and she's really happy with the progress I've gone through because she's seen that my whole strength is back in my hand. So yeah, so I'm just starting to desensitize it and going through all that process now. A thing I thought was really interesting was I believe the second week is when I started going out again with my boyfriend. Not all like full out, just like to go eat or just to hang out. And a lot of people, because the way my finger was wrapped, they were asking me like, oh, what happened to your finger? Or, oh, did you break it? And I would tell them, and I would just start getting kind of like, I just didn't really want people asking because I just didn't want to explain it. I didn't want to rethink everything. Like, I was still trying to heal it and emotionally heal myself and still try to stay positive. And it's like every time I was being asked, it just kept giving me flashbacks, or I honestly just like would start crying after every time someone would ask me, just because those emotions would still come back and it was still like a sensitive topic to talk about. But it was really interesting because I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 people that have asked me that they have known someone that's also had an amputation, and like they tell me their stories of like someone got their finger from a saw, or like at work or the door, just things like that. I just also started noticing other people as well. Like when I would go out, I would notice like if someone didn't have like a digit to like a little finger or something, like I would think in my head like, oh wow, like you can't even tell unless you were to like strictly look. Like because it happened to me, I kind of observe more of like if someone has an amputation too, just because like that's things you could relate about, that's things you could like make someone else feel comfortable about, or just kind of, it's like your own little clique, you know, like all the amputations, like we all been through something with missing a body part. So I thought that was really cool too. So there is little things that like I did change when I was recovering, as in like I noticed just the other day, like 2 days ago, I noticed that I can't snap anymore because I snap like this with these fingers. So I'm always like this. But yesterday I was trying to snap at my dog, and I was like, oh, like I get those phantom feelings. Like I still feel like my finger's there, and then it's like if I just touch it, or if I like, I don't know, like just feel like it's like if I'm gonna hit it, it's like my mind just plays tricks on me because I think it's there, but it's not. Or like when I put a glove on, like things like that, like I'm like, what the heck? Like I need to put my finger more in, but like there's not really any more than there is. So I just gotta kind of get used to that right now. But little things I was going through was like writing. I had to do a little different, which I think I put in one of the videos. Like when I pick up something, or when I'm like trying to fold something, or pick up a fork, trying to write with a pencil. So I hope that was everything that I wanted to say, because I had a lot to talk about, and I just really wanted to tell you guys my story and have you guys understand what I went through. And if you guys had any questions, because I know, like, for example, one of my cousins told me like, oh, I was scared to ask you like how your finger is, because like I don't know if you're still sensitive about it and stuff. I'm just like, no, like I'm fine now. I feel better. I'm feeling more like myself again. Life's unpredictable. Like things are gonna happen, and it's life. Like life just keeps going. You just keep going through everything, growing up, having fun. You can't always just dwell on the negative things and just be stuck in like a negative mindset. But I don't want anyone that's going through this to feel that way. I want you guys to know that like I went through it. There's other people that went through it. It's not going to change you. You just stay positive. Just keep living your life. Don't let it stop you from doing anything you love. and just keep going day by day, and sooner or later you're going to get better. You're going to feel better. And staying positive and staying with those people around you that really comfort you and make you feel good about yourself is going to help. Just keep yourself around those people. And I just want to say again, thank you to my family, my boyfriend, my parents, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being there for me and comforting me, because without you guys, I seriously would not know how I got through this emotionally by myself. So yeah, that was my story. I hope you guys really liked it, and if there was any more questions, you guys can always ask, but I hope I did explain my story pretty good.